A plague doctor's journey, a tale of endurance, sacrifice, and survival. Imagine this, you're born into a world in which death is an ever-present companion, walking just a few steps behind you. The air is thick with dread, not only because of the sickness that spreads like wildfire through your town, but because the living are as afraid of you as they are of the plague itself. You have become a symbol of death, but you're not here to bring it. You're here to face it, to offer what little comfort and care you can, knowing full well that your own life is as fragile as the ones you're trying to save. This is the world of a plague doctor, and tonight we walk that path with you. Close your eyes. Picture the weight of the world on your shoulders as you step into a city consumed by disease. It's the year 1656. You've just been hired for the most dreaded position in Europe, a plague doctor. But how did this happen? How did you, an ordinary person, find yourself standing on the edge of this terrifying abyss? Perhaps it was desperation. Maybe you had no choice but to accept the job. With no experience, no training. Or maybe, just maybe, it was because no one else would take it. The city is thrilled to have you, but you feel nothing but dread. It starts with the money. They hand you a pouch filled with coins. It's paid up front. You don't ask questions because you already know why. Statistically, you're not expected to last long enough to collect your full wages. The town leaders assure you that your position is an honorable one. They tell you you're there to help, but deep down you understand the truth. You're there to be the shield between the living and the dead. And soon enough, you'll be surrounded by corpses, watching life slip through your fingers. The first thing they hand you isn't a welcome or even a handshake. They hand you a heavy pouch of coins paid in advance. It's a grim kind of generosity. A man gives you a lantern to guide you into a mine that's already on fire. You will not survive this. They know it. You know it. But it's your job to go anyway. Now it's time to get you suited up. No training. No school. No mentor. Just an outfit. And this outfit is your armor. You first pull on leather trousers, thick, stiff, and smelling like death itself. The leather is meant to protect you from the bad air that you have no real understanding of how or why it works. Next, the oil-soaked cloak goes over your shoulders, heavy and black. Slick to the touch. It's designed to repel water, to shield you from the elements, to protect you. But in truth, it's a prison. As you slip it on, you feel the suffocating weight of your duty. Then the gloves. They're thick and tight, and you slide them over your hands, knowing full well that you'll never touch another human being without fear. The gloves are part of the uniform. They keep you from having to touch the sick, or worse, the dead. Finally, the mask, the infamous beaked mask. The one that will become your only identity. It's more than a medical tool. It's a barrier between you and the world. You fasten it over your face, securing the straps behind your head. The beak is 6 inches long, curved like the skull of a bird, stuffed with herbs, cloves, rose petals, cinnamon, sometimes even crushed emerald or powdered viper flesh. It smells strange, a concoction of what seems more like an old apothecary's cursed spice rack than any kind of medicine. You breathe in the stale, sickly sweet air of the herbs. It's supposed to protect you from the foul stench of decay. But as you breathe, it only makes you feel trapped. Your vision is blurry. Your sense is clouded. The round glass eyepieces press against your skin, itchy and tight. You can't scratch. You can't sneeze. You can't even see clearly, but you've been told this is your shield. And so you wear it, despite the suffocating weight it places on your body and your soul. You're handed a cane. This is your tool. It's not just for examining the sick. It's your defense against the panic-stricken crowds. This cane will allow you to keep a safe distance, to tap a foot and see if the patient is still alive. To prod a swollen body to check for the telltale sign of the plague, the black pustules that signify the disease's cruel grip. But the cane also serves another purpose. When the crowds come rushing at you, desperate and dying, it's the only thing that stands between you and the madness that will consume you if you're not careful. You step into the streets. The town is eerily silent, save for the creaking of shutters in the breeze. Somewhere, a church bell tolls. But it's not calling the faithful to prayer. It's ringing for the dead. The carts have already come by today, their wheels leaving muddy tracks in the dirt. The carts carry bodies, some wrapped in sheets, others left bare. Some of the faces look peaceful, as if death was a sweet release. But most do not. Your first stop is a house, the door marked with a charcoal cross. A servant greets you at the threshold, holding a cloth to his mouth. The smell hits you before you even step inside. It's the smell of sickness. Sweat, vomit, decay, and odor so foul it makes your stomach turn. You steel yourself and enter. A woman lies in the bed. Pale and cold, her skin waxy to the touch. A bulging lump grows beneath her neck, angry and red. It's a bubo, the telltale sign. Her eyes flicker beneath closed lids. She's burning with fever. Her breath shallow and ragged. You extend your cane and gently prod the swelling. It leaks pus. A thin stream. You nod. Not because it helps, but because that's what they expect you to do. Her husband stands nearby, hollow-eyed and hopeful, but you know in your heart that no hope remains for her. You mutter something about the humors being out of balance. Prescribe some crushed herbs and advise him to burn rosemary in the corners of the room. You suggest slicing an onion to absorb the illness from the air. He thanks you as though you've offered salvation, though you've done nothing of the sort. You record the visit in your notebook. No names, just initials. There are too many patients now. Names make it personal. You cannot afford personal. You notice a child sitting in the hallway. He watches you as you leave. His eyes track your every movement, but he doesn't speak. He doesn't move. You suspect he's already infected. You don't say anything. What would be the point? As you move through the town, you encounter more of the same. People who once greeted you with hope now stare at you with suspicion. The town has changed. You've become a symbol, not of healing, but of doom. And yet, you continue, because there's nothing else to do. By the time the sun sets, you've visited over a dozen homes. Some of them still harbor the living. Most of them have given up hope. The town is full of questions now. Why? How? When? And you? You have no answers. Only herbs and prayers, only words that offer no salvation. You return home, but the town's weight doesn't leave you. You remove each layer of your gear carefully, as if it might hold onto some trace of the sickness. The gloves first, then the cloak, stiff with sweat and stained at the hem. Finally, the mask. You hang everything to air out, but even as you do, the stench lingers on your skin. You wash your hands 3 times, scrubbing until the skin burns. You inspect yourself for signs. No lumps. No fever. Not yet. But you don't relax. You can't. You sit at your desk, your notebook open, filled with crude drawings of boils and rashes. You try to focus, but your thoughts blur. The faces of the dead, the names of the sick, all of them run together now. You eat a small piece of bread, sip weak wine, and listen to the muffled quiet of a dying city. Tomorrow, you'll put on the mask again. Tomorrow, the plague will continue. As the light of the dawn slips through your shutters, it doesn't bring relief. It doesn't bring hope. It only illuminates the dust motes dancing in the air, the silent testimony of a world put on hold. You rise slowly, as if your very bones resist the weight of what lies ahead. The mask, the robes, the gloves, they are no longer just clothing. They have become you. They have merged with your identity, so deeply that to take them off feels like shedding your very skin. The air is thick with the scent of decay, and you find yourself inhaling it with a grim sense of familiarity. The mask, once a novelty, now feels like a second face, suffocating, heavy, but necessary. You fasten the beak securely, the herbs inside releasing their faint, sickly sweet aroma. It's supposed to keep the bad air at bay. But what you truly fear isn't the air itself, it's the plague, the sickness that knows no mercy, and the people who now look at you with dread in their eyes, as if you were the bringer of death itself. Outside, the town is eerily still. The markets, once bustling with life, now stand abandoned. The stalls are left to crumble, their wooden frames half collapsed, weighed down by neglect. You pass a barrel of rotting apples, worms crawling over its decaying flesh. It's a strange sight, life, in the form of these tiny creatures thriving amidst the desolation. The cheerful cries of vendors have been replaced by the toll of church bells, their sound not calling the faithful to prayer, but announcing another death. Every few hours, another body is added to the tally. And with each new body, the weight on your heart grows. You are the one who has to face it. You are the one who must go from house to house, offering what little help you can. A prayer here, a herbal remedy there. The people look to you for answers, but you have none. All you can offer is the illusion of care. It's a cruel irony, but it's all you have. Your first stop of the day is the house of a merchant. The door is marked with the red X, a sign that death has entered. You knock gently with your cane, waiting for the invitation to enter. A frail voice calls from inside, weak but insistent. You push the door open, and immediately the stench hits you sickly sweet. A mixture of decaying flesh and the faintest hint of something else, something darker. You enter, your steps slow and deliberate. The merchant lies in a dimly lit room, propped up on a makeshift cot. His skin is mottled with purple blotches, and his breathing is labored. His eyes flicker open when you approach, and he manages a weak smile. "Doctor," he croaks. "Is it as I fear?" You study his pulse, rapid and weak. His breath rattles in his chest, each inhalation a struggle. You don't need to be a physician to know what's happening. The plague has taken root. You nod gently. "It's the plague," you say, your voice muffled by the mask. "There's little we can do now, but make you comfortable." You place a cloth soaked in rosemary oil near his face, the familiar scent filling the air. "Keep your chamber aired," you advise. "Burn juniper in the corners. Pray if you must." The merchant nods weakly, his eyes filled with gratitude. Though he knows as well as you that his time is running out. You leave him to his fate, stepping back into the streets, the weight of your next task already heavy on your shoulders. You move through the town with mechanical precision. It has become routine now, checking on the sick, offering herbal remedies, taking notes in your ledger. But there's no joy in it, no satisfaction. It's all just a waiting game, a slow march toward death. You don't know who will survive and who won't. Some people greet you with hope in their eyes, others with suspicion, as if you were somehow to blame for the plague itself. One old woman spits at your feet as you pass, calling you a deceiver in disguise. You don't respond. There's no point. By midday, you've seen a dozen more homes, each one more heartbreaking than the last. Some of the people are still alive, but just barely. Others are already dead, their bodies left behind by their grieving families, who have nowhere else to turn. You offer what little you can, but you know in your heart that it won't be enough. At the canal, Workers haul bodies into barges, their faces blank with exhaustion. The water laps lazily at the sides of the boats, indifferent to the human suffering it carries away. You watch as a body, wrapped in sailcloth, is pushed over the edge, the lifeless form bobbing briefly before slipping beneath the surface. The men say they're grateful for the work, it's honest, they say. And they hope the plague will avoid them in return. But you've seen more bargemen dead than alive this month. The plague doesn't care who you are or what you do. Comes for everyone eventually. You continue your rounds, moving from one house to the next. Some are marked with charcoal crosses, others with a simple red X. Some are locked tight, the residents too afraid to let anyone in. You knock softly, but sometimes there's no answer. At one house, a man rushes toward you from an alley, frantic and coughing. He grabs your arm, and for a moment you feel the jolt of fear. Your stick raises instinctively, just enough to keep him away. He stumbles back, apologizing, his voice thick with panic. "My wife," he says. "She's ill. I don't know what to do." You nod. You follow him. The house smells like death. His wife lies in the corner of the room, her body twisted and rigid. A bubo has already burst on her neck, and the rest of her body is covered in dark, spreading marks. She will not survive the night. You do what you can, offering her a prayer and giving the husband instructions to burn the linens, to keep the room aired, to continue with the rosemary. But deep down, you know it's all pointless. She's already gone. Yet as you leave, the man looks at you with something between hope and desperation. Will she survive? He asks, though he knows the answer. You don't answer. You simply turn and leave, the weight of his gaze following you out the door. As the day draws to a close, you return to your quarters. They are modest, a single room above a bakery that has long since stopped making bread. You enter carefully, as if afraid of disturbing the stillness. The air inside smells of old flour and stale bread. You remove your gear with practiced precision, the layers coming off one by one. Gloves first, then the cloak, stiff with dried sweat. And finally, the mask. You hang it by the door, the familiar beak staring back at you, as if mocking your efforts. You wash your hands 3 times, scrubbing until the skin burns. You check for signs, no lumps, no fever. Not yet, at least. You light a candle and sit at your desk, opening your notebook to record your day. Your entries are brief now. Names have become too personal, too painful. Initials are all you can manage. You try to focus, but the faces of the dying blur together. There's nothing to do but keep going. The plague shows no mercy, and neither can you. You eat a small piece of bread and sip weak wine that tastes bitter in your mouth. The town is dying, and you are powerless to stop it. Tomorrow, you will put on the mask again. Tomorrow, you will face it all over again. But tonight, as the candle flickers and the city outside remains eerily still, you allow yourself a moment of quiet reflection. A moment of stillness before the storm begins anew. The morning greets you with the same chill as yesterday. No warmth, no comfort, just a silent reminder that the world continues to turn, even as it dies. You rise slowly, your body creaking in protest, heavy with exhaustion and a sense of inevitability. The mask is waiting for you, hanging by the door like an old, tired friend. You hesitate for a moment, your fingers brushing against the beak. It is no longer just a tool, it is your identity. It is what the people see when they look at you, and perhaps it is what you see when you look at yourself. You don't know how long it's been since you last saw your own face without the distortion of glass and herbs. Days? Weeks? Time has become as slippery as the sweat on your brow. Every day is the same: wake, dress, leave, heal, witness death, return. But today something is different. The air feels thicker, heavier, as if the world itself is holding its breath. Or maybe it's just you who is holding yours. The weight of the mask has become a part of you now, just as the plague has become a part of this town. You don the heavy robes, the slick leather cloak, the gloves. Each layer is a wall, a barrier between you and the world, between you and the sickness that threatens to devour everything in its path. The cane, once a curious accessory, is now a necessary extension of your body. It is your shield, your only defense against the tide of desperation that rises every time you walk into a home. As you step outside, the city greets you with its familiar silence. There are no birds singing, no children laughing. The streets are empty, save for the occasional figure wrapped in rags, moving with slow, deliberate steps. You can feel the eyes on you even though no one dares approach. The mask, the cane, the black robes, they make you both a figure of dread and an unwilling savior. The people fear you, but they also need you. You are the one who enters when death arrives, and you are the one who watches it take them. The first house on your route is a small, crooked dwelling on the outskirts of town. The door is marked with the now familiar red X. It is a symbol that has become as much a part of this plague as the sickness itself. You knock gently with your cane, and after a long pause, the door creaks open. A frail woman stands before you, her face pale and drawn with the exhaustion of watching her loved ones succumb to the disease. She gestures toward the back of the house where the patient lies. You follow her through the narrow hallway, stepping over discarded rags and overturned furniture. The room is dim, lit only by the faint glow of a dying fire. In the corner, a man lies on a cot, his body twisted and trembling. His skin is covered in dark, blotchy rashes, and his breath comes in ragged, shallow gasps. The unmistakable sign of the plague is their swollen buboes, blackened and leaking pus. You approach cautiously, your cane extending toward the man. His eyes flicker open, and he gazes at you with a mixture of fear and hope. "Doctor," he whispers, his voice hoarse. Is there any hope?" You study his pulse, feeling the weak, fluttering beat beneath your fingertips. The plague has taken hold, and there is nothing you can do. But you don't say that. Instead, you nod slowly, offering what little comfort you can. "Rest," you say softly. "Keep the room aired. Burn juniper in the corners. Pray if you must." You give him instructions for the herbs you've brought, and then, as always, you leave him with the illusion of hope. Outside, the world feels colder, as if the very air has grown thick with grief. The streets are quieter today, the silence heavier. You move through the town with a mechanical precision, checking homes, recording symptoms, offering remedies. But with each stop, the sense of futility grows. You know the truth, this plague will not be stopped by herbs or prayers. It will take who it will, and there is nothing you can do to stop it. At one house, a father pulls you aside, his eyes wide with desperation. "My son," he says, his voice trembling. "He's sick. He's been coughing, doctor. His fever is burning him up. Can you help him?" You nod, though you know in your heart that there's nothing left to offer. The boy lies in a corner of the room, his tiny body racked with fever. His skin is clammy, his breath shallow. You approach him with your cane, gently prodding his swollen neck. The bubo is already there, dark and full of pus. You don't have to say anything. The father's eyes fill with the kind of knowing dread that only the plague can bring. You advise him to keep the boy comfortable, to burn rosemary in the room, and to pray. The father nods, but his hands tremble as he clasps his son's hand, as if by holding it tighter, he can keep the plague at bay. You leave quickly, not wanting to witness the inevitable. The silence that follows you as you step out into the street is oppressive, a reminder of how small and fragile life is in this city. You continue your rounds, checking on the sick, offering the same advice, the same remedies. But nothing changes. The plague keeps claiming its victims, one by one. By the time you return to your quarters, the sun has begun to set, casting long shadows over the empty streets. You enter your small room above the bakery, the familiar smell of stale bread greeting you like an old friend. You carefully remove your mask, the familiar pressure on your face easing slightly as you hang it by the door. But the relief is short-lived. Beneath the mask, your skin is raw, your face chafed and red from the constant pressure. You wash your hands again, scrubbing until the skin burns. The familiar routine is comforting, but it does little to ease the weight of what you've seen today. You sit at your desk, opening your notebook to record the day's events. The pages are filled with crude drawings of rashes, swollen glands, and darkened skin. You no longer write names. There's no point. There are too many patients now, too many deaths. The names blur together, fading into the background of your own exhaustion. You record only the barest details, each entry a testament to your own futility. You eat a small piece of bread, sip some weak wine, and stare out the window. The town is dying, and you are powerless to stop it. The fire you lit in the hearth crackles softly, a reminder that life, however fragile, still persists in small pockets. But for how long? Tomorrow, the mask will return to your face. Tomorrow, you will go back out into the streets, offering what little care you can. But for now, as the night deepens and the quiet settles over the town, you allow yourself a moment to breathe. A moment to rest, even though you know it won't last long. You wake before dawn again. The first thing you feel is the weight of the mask, the familiar, suffocating pressure against your face. The herbs inside are still pungent, but today the smell feels more like a prison than a shield. For a moment, you consider taking it off, letting the fresh air of morning fill your lungs. But that would be a betrayal. The mask is the only thing keeping you separate from the chaos, the only barrier between you and the sickness that moves like a shadow through this town. You rise, the aching in your body a constant reminder of the hours you've spent walking from house to house, the endless faces, the endless pleas for help. The robe feels heavier each day. The gloves, stiff and tight, never quite let you forget that you're not just a man, you're a symbol. To some, you are a savior. To others, a curse. It doesn't matter what you are to them, because you are nothing to yourself anymore. The streets are as silent as always, the sky a dull gray, heavy with the weight of another day of suffering. You step outside, and the air smells of decay. It's not just the bodies, not just the sickness. It's the silence. It's the absence of life. The streets, once full of laughter, of children running and vendors calling out their wares, are now ghostly quiet. Every corner you turn, every house you pass, feels like another reminder that the world you once knew has vanished. The first stop is always the hardest. A house marked with a red X, your morning routine. You knock with your cane, waiting for the silence to break. When the door creaks open, a servant stands there, face hollow with exhaustion. He gestures you inside. You follow him through the hallway, past the small altar set up in the corner for prayers, past the handful of family members huddled together. all with the same hollow eyes, all waiting for something they know won't come. Inside, the patient lies in a room at the back of the house, surrounded by the usual signs, sweat-soaked sheets, the smell of death clinging to the air. A man no older than you, but with the same look of resignation in his eyes. His chest rises and falls in shallow, uneven breaths. His skin is pale, marked with the telltale rashes. A bubo sits grotesquely beneath his arm, dark and swollen. You approach him slowly, careful not to disturb the fragile stillness that surrounds him. "Doctor," he murmurs, his voice weak but filled with the faintest glimmer of hope. "Am I going to make it?" You don't answer right away. You study his pulse, the fever that burns his skin. You look at the bubo already beginning to leak. You know the truth. You know there is nothing you can do. But you also know what he needs to hear. "Rest," you say softly. "Keep the room aired. Burn rosemary in the corners. Pray if you must." You place a cloth soaked in rosemary oil by his bedside, the familiar smell of the herb mingling with the stench of death that fills the room. The man nods, but you can see the fear in his eyes. He knows, just as you do, that this is the end. As you leave the room, you pause at the door. The wife is standing in the hallway, her face pale, her eyes swollen with tears. "How long?" she asks quietly, her voice barely a whisper. You don't answer. There is nothing to say. You simply turn and leave, your cane tapping softly against the floor as you walk away, leaving behind another family torn apart by the plague. The day continues in much the same way. House after house, patient after patient. The work is endless, but it never feels like it's enough. You offer remedies, you offer prayers, but the plague moves through the town like an unstoppable force, taking who it will and leaving nothing but grief in its wake. You record the names, but they mean nothing anymore. There are too many names now, too many deaths, too many faces. Your journal has become a record of futility, a testament to your helplessness. In the late afternoon, you find yourself near the canal again, watching as the bodies are loaded onto barges. The workers are silent now, no longer joking about their work or hoping that the plague will pass them by. They know the truth. The plague does not care who you are or what you do. It comes for everyone. Eventually, you stand there for a long moment watching the bodies drift away, their faces pale and still. You feel the weight of it, the weight of all the lives that have been lost. But you can't stop. You can't grieve. Not now. There's too much to do. The sun begins to set as you make your way back to your quarters, the familiar weight of exhaustion settling over you. You remove your mask, your cloak, and your gloves, the familiar ritual of the end of another long day. The air in your room is stale, the faint smell of bread from the bakery below mixing with the scent of sweat and death that clings to your clothes. You sit at your desk, the journal open before you, waiting to be filled with the day's events. But tonight there is nothing to write. There are no names to record, no new remedies to note. Just the same empty page. You pick up your quill, but your hand trembles. You set it back down, unable to bring yourself to write. The town is dying, and so are you. You are losing yourself in this endless cycle of death, offering what little you can, knowing that it will never be enough. You close the journal, the finality of the motion sending a wave of exhaustion through your body. For the first time in what feels like forever, you allow yourself to stop. To breathe, though the air feels thick, choking. The weight of the mask, of the robes, of the constant reminder of death is finally too much. You lie down on your bed, your body aching from the hours of walking and the emotional toll of the day. The last thing you hear before you drift into a fitful sleep is the distant tolling of the church bells. Another body, another death. The cycle continues. The dawn arrives like any other day, gray, heavy and unrelenting. You wake in the dark, the weight of the mask already pressing down on your mind before your eyes even open. The morning ritual is the same, but today, there's something different in the air. A palpable shift that you can't put your finger on it. It's as if the city itself knows that another death is coming, another soul will slip away, and you, as always, will be the one to witness it. You will be the one who puts on the mask, the robes, the gloves, and walks into the storm, offering no salvation, only the illusion of care. Your fingers trace the outline of the mask hanging by your door, its beak long and foreboding. The herbs inside are the same. Rose petals, cloves, cinnamon. But today, the smell feels like a mockery. They no longer shield you from anything. Instead, they cling to you like a suffocating reminder of all you cannot change. You have become the mask. You have become the plague itself. Feared and revered, but ultimately forgotten once the sickness has passed. The streets are empty, save for a few figures moving in silence, their heads lowered, avoiding eye contact. No one dares look at you for long. You are the harbinger of death, and your presence reminds them of what they fear most. And yet, in the eyes of the dying, you are the last hope. You are the one who stands between them and the abyss. And no matter how grim it is, you must go on. You must keep walking, keep examining, keep offering what little help you can, because it is all you can do. The first house of the day is no different from the others. The door is marked with the red X, the universal sign of infection. You knock softly with your cane, the rhythmic tap breaking the silence that hangs in the air like a heavy fog. A servant opens the door, their face hollow and drained of all emotion. They usher you in without a word, as if they have come to accept the inevitable. Inside, the smell hits you, the sickly sweet stench of sweat and decay, the unmistakable sign that death is already knocking. The patient lies in the back room, a woman no older than you, her skin yellow and waxy. The fever burns through her body writhing beneath the weight of it. The bubo beneath her neck is grotesque, swollen, leaking a thin, blackish fluid. It is already too late. The plague has taken hold, and nothing you do will stop it now. You approach cautiously, your cane extending towards her, checking for signs of life. She stirs, her eyes flickering open. They are filled with the same fear and desperation you've seen 1,000 times before. "Doctor," she whispers, her voice weak. "Will I survive?" You don't answer right away. You check her pulse, feeling it thready and weak beneath your fingers. Her breath is shallow, ragged. You know the truth. There is nothing more you can do. But you offer her the only thing you can give: words. Rest. You tell her softly. Keep the room aired. Burn rosemary in the corners. Pray if you must. She nods faintly, her eyes dimming as she drifts in and out of consciousness. The husband is standing in the corner of the room, his face drawn and pale. He hasn't slept in days. You can see the weight of grief already beginning to settle over him. The crushing knowledge that his wife will soon be gone. He meets your gaze, eyes filled with that same desperate hope. "Doctor," he says hoarsely, "is there nothing more you can do?" You want to say something, anything to give him comfort. But the truth is, there's nothing to say. You shake your head, offering him the same hollow words you've offered so many others. There is nothing more that can be done. You don't linger. You leave the room quickly, the weight of the encounter settling on your chest. As you step out into the hallway, the man's wife calls weakly after you. "Doctor, will I see him again?" Her voice fades as she drifts into unconsciousness. and the words feel like a cruel mockery. Will she see him again? It doesn't matter now. The disease has already claimed her. You move on to the next house. And the next. Each visit is a repetition of the one before, sick, dying, the same hopeless remedies. The same empty words. You record names, but they begin to blur together. Faces, symptoms, prognosis. Every day feels the same now, like the pages of your journal are stuck in an endless loop. The names pile up, but they're meaningless. The people are fading. The world is fading. You are fading. By midday, you stop recording the names altogether. There are too many. You switch to initials. The face of the dying woman haunts you, but you push it aside. There is no room for emotion in this work. There never was. You are a tool, a vessel for what little care remains, even if it's not enough to save anyone. You cross the canal again, the same place you pass every day. The barges are still there. They're workers loading the bodies onto the boats with mechanical precision. The men are silent now, their faces as hollow as the eyes of the dead they carry. There is no more hope here, just a cold, relentless procession of bodies, piling higher and higher until the entire city is buried beneath them. You pause for a moment, watching the scene unfold before you. A body wrapped in sailcloth floats past, face half submerged in the water. You see the eyes, glassy and vacant, staring upward as if waiting for something that will never come. The image stays with you for a long time, even after the body slips below the surface, swallowed by the canal's dark water. You make your way back to your quarters, the weight of the day settling heavily on your shoulders. The streets are quieter now, the sky dimming with the approach of evening. You remove your mask, your cloak, your gloves, and for a moment, you sit in the stillness, the familiar smell of stale bread rising from the bakery below. You stare at the mask, its empty eyes reflecting the light from your candle. It stares back at you, mocking your efforts, your hope, your helplessness. You open your journal again, but the pages are empty. You don't have the energy to write. The names and faces are gone. There is nothing left but the sound of the wind outside and the quiet, distant tolling of the church bells. Another body, another life lost. The cycle continues. Tomorrow the mask will return. Tomorrow you will step back into the streets, offering what little comfort you can. But tonight, as you sit in the silence of your room, you allow yourself a moment to rest. For tomorrow, the weight of the mask will be heavier than ever. The day breaks with a pale, lifeless light filtering through the cracks of your shuttered window. You wake to the same ache in your bones, the same weight on your chest, but today it feels different. Today, the air is heavier, thick with the scent of death and smoke. The mask sits by the door, its beak curved in the same grim mockery it has been for months. You reach for it as though it's an extension of yourself, feeling the familiar heft of the leather, the weight of the herbs and the glass eyes staring back at you. You hesitate for just a moment, a flicker of doubt, a moment where you wonder if there is any use left in this. The mask, once a symbol of protection, has become a symbol of defeat. It has become your second skin, your prison. It's not the mask that's killing you. It's everything that comes with it. The never-ending procession of bodies, the same faces, the same desperation. The hopelessness that surrounds you like a fog. You put it on anyway. The streets are quiet again as you step outside. The familiar, oppressive silence filling the air. No laughter, no children playing. There is only the creak of shutters in the breeze, the faint sound of footsteps, and the distant toll of church bells. You are alone in this world now, a living ghost walking between the living and the dead. No one looks at you. No one acknowledges your presence. They have learned to avoid you, the walking specter of plague. The mask scares them, but it also comforts them. You are the one they look to, even though they know you have nothing to offer. The first house is waiting for you, just as it always does. The door is marked with the red X, the unmistakable symbol of sickness. You knock, and after a long pause, the door creaks open, revealing a servant, their face drawn with the weight of exhaustion. Without a word, they step aside to let you in. You follow them down a narrow hallway, the smell of rot thick in the air. Another house on the brink of despair. Inside, a man lies in bed, his body racked with fever. His skin is pale and damp with sweat, the telltale purple blotches already beginning to appear. The bubo beneath his arm is swollen and dark. It is, as always, a death sentence. He is no more than a vessel for the disease now, a body waiting to give in to the inevitable. "Doctor," he whispers, his voice weak and trembling. "Will I survive?" You don't need to check his pulse. You know what it is, and you know what his fate will be. You have seen this too many times before. The plague has already taken hold. There is no cure, no remedy that will save him now. You place a hand gently on his shoulder, offering what little comfort you can. "Rest," you say softly, though it rings hollow in your ears. Burn rosemary in the room. Pray if you must. The wife stands in the corner of the room, her face pale and her hands trembling as she clutches a small prayer book. Her eyes lock on yours, desperate for some sign, some miracle. She looks at you as though you could pull her husband from the brink of death, but you know you cannot. You want to say something, anything to ease her suffering, but the words elude you. "Is there hope?" she asks, her voice strained with grief. The question hangs in the air like a weight, a question you know you cannot answer. You nod faintly, but even you can hear the lie in your own voice. You don't speak again. There's no point. The disease doesn't care about hope. It doesn't care about prayers. It doesn't care about anything. It takes, and it leaves nothing but ashes in its wake. You leave them behind, moving to the next house. The faces blur together now. Each one the same, each one another life slipping through your fingers. There is nothing new, no changes, no shifts. It is just the same endless cycle of death. And you are the one who stands between them and the end. But you cannot stop it. You cannot make it better. All you can do is watch. By midday, you are exhausted, your legs aching from the constant movement, your head pounding with the weight of it all. The mask is suffocating now. The air inside it thick with the stale herbs and the smell of death. You feel like you're drowning in it. Every breath is a struggle, every step heavier than the last. You pause for a moment, leaning on your cane as you look out over the street. The town is dying. You can feel it. You can see it in the eyes of the people, in the way they avoid you, in the way they watch the bodies pass by. No one believes there is any hope anymore. Not for the sick, not for the town, not for you. You walk on, your footsteps echoing in the empty streets. The sound of your cane tapping against the cobblestones, the only thing breaking the silence. The next house is a small, two-story building with a half-collapsed roof. It's barely standing, but the family inside still clings to the hope that they can survive. They greet you at the door, but there is no joy in their eyes. They have seen too many die. They know what's coming. Inside, the patient lies in a bed surrounded by family. A woman no older than 30, her face pale and drawn with sickness. Her skin is flushed with fever, and the dark blotches have already begun to spread. The bubo beneath her arm is enormous, swollen, and grotesque. She will not survive the day. Her eyes flicker open when you enter, and she manages a weak smile. Doctor, can you save me? She asks, the question so full of innocence and desperation that it almost breaks you. You kneel beside her, checking her pulse. It's faint. Barely there. You know what will happen. But you tell her what you always tell them. Rest, you say quietly. Burn juniper. Keep the room aired. Pray. You know it's pointless. You know she'll be gone by nightfall. But you say it anyway. The family watches you, their eyes filled with fear and disbelief. They expect you to offer a miracle, something to save her. But there is no miracle. There is no cure. There is only the mask, the cane, and the same hollow words you offer to everyone. They thank you, though you know they don't believe it. You leave the house and walk into the growing shadows of the evening. You are tired. You are so tired. Every house, every face, every death has taken something from you. You've stopped keeping track of how many have died. The numbers are irrelevant. The suffering is irrelevant. The plague has consumed this town. And there's nothing left to do but wait for it to claim you too. By the time you return to your quarters, night has fallen. The bakery below is quiet now. The last remnants of warmth fading into the stillness. You remove your mask, your gloves, and your cloak, each layer a small relief, but it doesn't last. The mask lies on the table, staring up at you with its hollow eyes, and for a moment you wonder what it would be like to simply leave it, to walk away, to escape this nightmare. But you know you cannot. You put the mask back on, just as you always do. Tomorrow you will rise again, put on the robe, the mask, and step back into the world that has forgotten what hope looks like. You will go through the motions. You will continue because there is nothing else. The night passes in restless silence, the air thick with an unspoken weight. Dawn breaks, but there is no light to greet you. The world is heavy with smoke, with the slow churn of disease, with the distant toll of church bells calling for yet another body. You open your eyes, but the darkness lingers. It clings to the corners of your room like a second skin. You feel the heaviness in your chest before you even take a breath. The weight of what you've done, of what you continue to do, is crushing. The mask is waiting by the door. It's always waiting. You stand before it for a long moment as if it holds some answer. But it doesn't. It's just leather and glass. Just herbs stuffed into a beak, meant to filter out death when it's already in the air. You reach for it. It's all you can do. The streets are as silent as ever. The soft crunch of your boots against the cobblestones the only sound. The people who pass by avoid your gaze, eyes cast down, feet quickening as they walk past the figure in black. You don't mind the distance. There's no room left for kindness or acknowledgement. You're the plague doctor now, a thing to be feared, not understood. The first house of the day is one you know too well. The door is marked with the red X, its grim presence a signal of what's inside. You knock with your cane, and after a long pause, the door creaks open. The servant who answers doesn't look at you, only gestures for you to follow. There's no need for words. They've seen it all before. Inside, the room smells of rot. The sickly sweet scent of herbs mingles with the heavier scent of decay. The man on the bed looks up as you enter, his face pale, his eyes sunken with fever. His skin is marked with the telltale blotches, the unmistakable sign of the plague. His body is already losing the battle, his chest rising and falling in shallow, desperate breaths. Doctor, he croaks. Am I going to die? You study him for a moment. His pulse is weak, too weak. The fever is burning through him, and his body is already beginning to shut down. You know the answer. You've known it since you first saw him, since you stepped over the threshold. But you don't say that. Not to them. Not to the ones still holding on to hope. Rest, you murmur. though the word sounds foreign in your mouth. Keep the room aired. Burn rosemary. Pray if you must. His eyes flicker a brief flash of hope before they dim again. Will it help? He asks, his voice cracking. You want to tell him the truth, that nothing will help, that nothing ever helped. But instead you nod. It may. It may. You don't stay long. You can't. You don't look at the wife standing in the corner of the room, her face drawn tight with grief. You don't look at the children huddled in the shadows, their small eyes filled with fear. You don't need to. You know what they see. They see a man in a mask. A man who has come to offer them nothing but the same empty promises. You move on down the narrow hallway, past the other rooms, past the faces waiting for you to bring them salvation that you cannot provide. You feel their eyes on your back as you leave, but you don't turn. You don't look back. The day stretches on, house after house, patient after patient. The same familiar routine, the same grim faces, the same hopelessness. You offer the same remedies, the same words. You record the same symptoms, the same deaths. You say the same prayers for the same souls. By midday, the weight of it all is suffocating. The mask feels heavier today, tighter against your face. As if it's becoming a part of you, something that can never be taken off. You walk through the streets, your cane tapping against the stones, the sound hollow in the quiet. It's become a ritual. This walking through the town, this journey from house to house, from sickness to sickness, from death to death. It is a journey you cannot escape. The streets are empty now, the markets abandoned. The shops closed. The town is dying, and you are walking through its last days. At the canal, you stop again, watching as another body is pushed into the water. The workers don't speak to each other anymore. They don't joke, don't comment on the weather. They simply load the bodies, push them into the dark water, and watch them float away. It is a grim, silent procession, and you are a part of it. You always have been. You move on, feeling the weight of the town's grief pressing in on you. The sun is beginning to set, casting long shadows across the empty streets. It's time to return to your quarters, to remove the mask and the robes and the gloves, but it's always the same. The moment you take them off, you are left with nothing but the knowledge that tomorrow you will put them on again. You will walk the streets again. You will witness death again. By the time you reach your room, the light has faded completely. You remove the mask, your face aching from the constant pressure. The room feels cold without the weight of the robes, but the chill is nothing compared to the coldness inside. You set the mask on the table, staring at it for a long moment. It's a grotesque thing, a reminder of everything you've lost. It's a reminder of everything the world has lost. You open your journal, but the pages are blank. There is nothing left to write. There are no names to record, no new remedies to note. There is only the same endless cycle. You close the journal, the weight of it pulling you under. The fire in the hearth crackles softly, but it doesn't bring warmth. It doesn't bring comfort. It just reminds you of the emptiness that surrounds you. The door creaks open, and for a moment you think you might be alone. But there, standing in the doorway, is a child. Her face is pale, her eyes wide with fear, but there's something else there too, hope. She holds out a small flower, the petals delicate and fragile, but a symbol of life, of something that still grows in this dying world. You're the doctor, she says softly. Can you help my mother? She's sick. She's burning with fever, and her skin is turning black. The words hit you like a blow. The child's voice, so full of hope, so full of trust. You look at her, and for the first time in what feels like forever, you wonder if there's still a part of you that can believe. But you know there isn't. There's nothing left to believe in. Not in this world. I'm sorry, you whisper, your voice hoarse. There is nothing I can do. She doesn't cry. She just looks at you for a long moment, her eyes searching as though hoping you'll change your mind. But you won't. You can't. The mask has become your prison, and you have long since forgotten how to escape. The child leaves, the small flower still clutched in her hand, and for the first time in days, you allow yourself to close your eyes. The weight of the mask, the weight of the world, is unbearable. The morning comes with a cold silence that feels heavier than it should. The wind carries no promise of relief, no warmth. The streets outside remain as still as they have for weeks, the same grim emptiness hanging in the air like a fog. You awaken to the familiar aches in your bones, the familiar weight in your chest. The mask waits by the door, always waiting. Its glass eyes reflect the pale light that leaks through the cracks in your room. For a moment, you consider not putting it on. Just once, you think. Just once. You want to see what the world feels like without the weight of it pressing against your face. You wonder if you'd even recognize yourself without it. But you know it's a thought that will pass. The mask has become part of you. Its leather, its beak, the suffocating herbs inside. The mask has consumed you in ways you never anticipated. You reach for it, feeling the familiar leather, the same scent of vinegar and cloves. You pull it on without hesitation, without thought. The mask is the shield you've built for yourself. The world sees you through it, and you see the world through it too. The streets are as dead as always. The few people who still remain in the city don't look at you. They don't acknowledge your presence, save for a hasty bow or a quick glance. You are the harbinger of death now, the symbol of their last hope, their last fear. But no one dares ask for help anymore. They've learned that there is no help. There is only the endless, grinding march of sickness and suffering. You make your way down the familiar path to the first house of the day. Cane tapping softly against the stones. The red X marks the door that has become all too familiar to you. You knock, waiting for the servant to answer. There is no response at first. You knock again, and again. Finally, the door creaks open, revealing an empty hall. No servant, no family, just the hollow echo of the silence inside. You step forward, entering the house without a word. The house feels abandoned, its walls worn and weary from the constant procession of death. You make your way through the hall, following the faint scent of sickness that lingers in the air. Inside, the room is dark, the curtains drawn tight against the light. The woman lying in bed doesn't look up as you approach. She is beyond caring, beyond hope. Her fever has already taken hold, and there is nothing left for her but time. The bubo beneath her arm is large and black. It pulses with the sickening rhythm of her heart. Each beat a reminder that her time is running out. "Doctor," she whispers, her voice barely a breath. "I feel it inside. I know what's coming." You stand there for a long moment, the weight of her words sinking in. You know the feeling. It's the same for everyone. The knowledge that death is close, inevitable. You want to speak, to offer some comfort, but the words won't come. What can you say? Rest, you finally say, your voice hollow. Keep the room aired. Burn juniper. Pray if you must. She nods, her eyes flickering with the last vestiges of hope before they close, slipping into unconsciousness. Her body will follow soon after. You move on, down the hallway, out the door, and into the emptiness of the street. It's the same thing every day now. Patient after patient, face after face, all of them slipping away no matter what you do. You offer your remedies. You say your words. But in the end, it's never enough. The sun sinks lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the cobblestones. You make your way through the streets, your cane tapping against the stones, marking the rhythm of your steps. There's no destination anymore. There's no purpose. You walk because that's all you can do. The weight of your mask, of your robes, of your duty pulls you along. The town is dying. You know it. Everyone knows it. But you are still here, still walking. Still carrying the weight of a plague that you can never escape. And yet, it feels like you've already left. The people are gone, the families are gone, the hope is gone. All that remains is you, the mask, and the endless cycle of death. You pause at the canal again, watching the barges carry the bodies away. There is no sound now, no cry, no wail of grief, just the soft plunk of the bodies hitting the water, disappearing into the dark depths. This is all that's left, the city's last breath, carried away on the current. The night begins to fall as you make your way back to your quarters. You enter, remove the mask, the cloak, the gloves. It's always the same. The weight of the day lifts slightly, but the emptiness remains. You sit at the table, the mask staring back at you as it always does. The smell of decay clings to your clothes, to your skin, but there's nothing left to scrub away. Nothing left to wipe clean. You open your journal, but the pages are blank. You haven't written in it for days. There's nothing to record. The names are forgotten. The faces blur together. You have become nothing but a shadow in the town that once held so much life. You write the same thing every day. Nothing new. Nothing left to say. A knock at the door breaks the silence. You don't move at first. Who could it be? There's no one left to care. But the knock comes again, more insistent this time. You stand and move to the door, your cane tapping softly against the floor. When you open it, you find a small child standing there. She is holding a wilted flower in her hands. Her face is pale, her eyes wide with fear. But there is something else there. Something small and fragile, hope. Please, she whispers, her voice shaking. My mother, she's dying. Can you help her? The words catch in your throat. You look at the child for a long moment, her small hands trembling as she holds the flower out to you. She is asking for something you cannot give. You want to speak, to say something, anything, to ease her pain. But there's nothing left. There are no words. You open your mouth to answer, but the words stick, and all that comes out is a soft, hollow whisper, there is nothing I can do. The child stares at you for a long moment, as if searching for some sign that you can save her mother, some glimmer of hope in the man who has come to offer help. But there is nothing. She lowers her gaze and leaves without a word. You close the door behind her, the silence louder now than before. You sit back at the table, your hands trembling as you reach for your mask once more. The weight of it, of this endless cycle, settles on you like a leaden weight. You have witnessed the death of this town. You have walked through its streets, carrying its last breaths. And now, you are nothing more than a ghost in a dying world. Tomorrow you will rise again. Tomorrow you will put on the mask. But tonight you allow yourself a moment to rest. The weight of the world may never leave you, but for just a moment you close your eyes and wonder if the mask will ever come off. The light breaks through the cracks in the shutters, but it's weak. Dim just like everything now. The world outside feels distant, muffled, as if the air itself is thickening with each passing day. The streets are quieter than ever. The town now a shadow of what it once was. No voices echo off the stone walls. No laughter spills from windows. Only silence remains. You wake in the dark as you always do. The mask is there, waiting its beak a familiar, oppressive weight. You reach for it with heavy hands, as if it's the only thing anchoring you to this world. You wonder sometimes what it would be like to remove it, to walk through the streets unencumbered by the weight of it. But you know you won't. You can't. The mask has become who you are now. The robe follows, heavy and damp with the air's rot. You stand before the mirror looking at the figure who stares back. The same beak, the same glass eyes. There's nothing left of the person you once were. The mask is the last thing tethering you to this life, this duty. Without it, who would you be? You step into the streets, the world still as silent as a tomb. Your steps echo through the empty city. The familiar landmarks, houses with their red excess, the crumbling bakery, the canal with its corpses are now nothing more than ghosts. They no longer hold meaning. Not for you. Not for anyone. The first house of the day is no different. The door is marked a simple X in charcoal. It's become routine now. You knock. A long pause. The door opens. Inside, there's no greeting. No recognition. Just a faint flicker of desperation in the eyes of the person waiting for you. But you've seen that look before. It's the look of people who know the end is coming, but still hope for something different. Something more. You enter without a word, moving through the house with practiced steps. The smell hits you before you even reach the room. It's the same smell, always the sickly sweetness of decay, of rot and disease. You know it well by now. The woman in the bed is barely recognizable. Her skin is drawn tight. Her body is shell-consumed by fever. The bubo beneath her arm is enormous, its blackness spreading, a stark symbol of the plague's unrelenting march. She looks up as you enter, her eyes flickering with the same weak hope they always carry. "Will I survive?" she asks, the question laced with that final, desperate plea for some miracle. You take her pulse. It's faint. Far too faint. You know the truth. You've known it from the moment you stepped into the house. But you say the words anyway, the ones you always say. Rest. Burn rosemary. Keep the room aired. Pray. If you must. She nods, the faintest smile pulling at her lips. It's a smile of resignation. She knows. She knows what's coming. But it doesn't matter. She believes in the words you say. Even if you don't, you leave the room quickly, not looking back. There's nothing more you can offer. The day stretches on, the hours blending together. You make your rounds, house after house, patient after patient, each one slipping away despite your best efforts. You've stopped counting the dead. The names blur together. There is no more distinction between the faces. They are all just victims of the same fate, and you are nothing but a witness to it. By midday, the streets have grown quieter still. The few people who are still left in the town have retreated into their homes, their doors closed, their windows shuttered tight. You can feel the weight of their fear pressing in on you. And yet you continue, step after step, until the inevitable happens. You reach another door, another house, another red X. Inside, a man lies in bed, his body burning with fever. The bubo beneath his neck is swollen to grotesque proportions, already oozing the telltale black pus. His breathing is shallow, ragged. He knows what's happening. You can see it in his eyes. But still, he asks, "Can you save me, doctor?" You don't respond right away. There is nothing to say. You check his pulse, his breathing, his skin. The diagnosis is clear. He will not survive. But you say the words anyway, the words you've said to every patient before him. Rest. Burn juniper. Keep the room aired. Pray if you must. He nods, his lips trembling, as if he's hoping for something more. But there's nothing more you can give him. You move on. It's the same with everyone. There's no cure. There's no hope. There's just the waiting. The waiting for death to come. The sun begins to set as you make your way through the town. The streets are darkening, the shadows growing longer. But you continue. There is nothing else to do. You have been walking these streets for so long, tending to the sick, witnessing the dying, that you no longer remember what it was like before all this. What it was like to feel alive, to feel hope. You pass the canal again, watching as another body is pushed into the water. It floats for a moment, face half submerged, eyes staring up at the sky. And then it slips beneath the surface. Swallowed by the dark depths. You wonder how many more will be added to the tally before the plague is done. How many more bodies will be carried away in the night? The days have all blurred together. There is no beginning and no end. There is only the endless march of death. You've become numb to it. Numb to the faces. To the bodies. To the cries for help. You walk through it all as if it's nothing more than a dream. A nightmare that you can't escape. You reach your quarters, but there is no relief there either. The weight of the mask is still on you. The cloak still clings to your skin. You sit at the table, staring at the journal in front of you. It's empty, just like everything else. You close your eyes, but the faces won't leave you. The cries for help, the look of desperate hope in their eyes. They haunt you even in your sleep. You wonder if you'll ever escape it, if there will ever be an end to it. And then, as if the weight of it all is too much to bear, you hear the knock at the door. You don't want to answer. You don't want to go back out there. But you do. You have to. Because that's all you've ever done. You've never been able to stop. You never will. You stand slowly, your legs aching, your heart heavy with the weight of it all. And as you open the door, you face the last thing you expected to see. It's the child again. The same small face. The same wilted flower. She looks up at you with those same wide, hopeful eyes. And for the first time in a long while, you feel something stir in your chest. I couldn't save her. You whisper, the words barely audible. But the child doesn't leave. She doesn't move. She simply stands there holding the flower, waiting for you to say something more. Waiting for you to do something. You close your eyes for a long moment. The weight of it all presses down harder. But you know what you must do. You can save yourself, you finally say, your voice barely above a whisper. And as you step back into the darkness of your quarters, the child's voice follows you. Thank you, doctor. You don't answer. You don't need to. Because for the first time in a long while, you realize there's nothing left for you to give. There's only the weight of the mask and the silent march toward the inevitable end. The mask feels heavier than it ever has before, as if it has absorbed all the grief, all the despair, of the town it has guarded for so long. It rests in your hands, its glass eyes staring back at you as the weight of the world presses against your chest. You know what comes next. You've always known. The streets are quieter today. The silence is so thick, so suffocating that it feels like the town has ceased to exist entirely. No more hurried footsteps. No more faint voices calling out from behind shuttered windows. No more cries for help. It's as though the plague has taken more than just the people, it's taken the very essence of the city itself. You rise from your bed and reach for the robe. The familiar weight settles on your shoulders, its oil-soaked fabric clinging to you like a second skin. Your hands tremble as you pull the mask over your face. The leather straps dig into your skin as you tighten them, and for a moment, the world is swallowed by the narrowness of your vision. You are shut off from everything but the weight of your own breath, the soft rustle of your robes, and the dull thrum of your heartbeat. Today feels different, not because of the weight of the mask, but because you know this is the last time. You've reached the end of this journey. There's nothing more to do. There's nothing left to give. The town stands before you, but it's not the town you remember. It's a husk, a ghost of what it once was. The houses, the streets, the marketplace, it's all still there, but it no longer holds meaning. The people are gone. The noise is gone, and what's left is a city waiting to die. You step out into the streets, your cane tapping against the cobblestones. The silence is broken only by the faint creak of the wind moving through the empty alleys. Every house you pass is marked with the red X. Every door is closed. Every window shuttered tight. And yet, you continue. You continue because it's all you know. It's the only thing left to do. The first house of the day is the same as all the others. It's marked, the door cracked open just a sliver. You knock, and after a moment, the servant appears. Their face pale and hollow with the same grief that weighs heavy on everyone's heart. They don't speak, just gesture for you to follow. And so you do. The room is dark, the curtains drawn. The woman lies in bed, her body limp and pale. The bubo beneath her arm is swollen and black, the sign of death that cannot be ignored. She's barely conscious, her breath shallow and ragged. Doctor, she whispers, the word barely a breath. Will I survive? You don't need to check her pulse. You know what you'll find. You know the truth. You've seen it 1,000 times before. But still, you go through the motions. You check her pulse. You listen to her breath. You nod not because it helps, but because it's what you've always done. Rest, you say softly, the words sounding hollow. Burn rosemary. Keep the room aired. Pray if you must. She nods, her eyes closing as she drifts back into unconsciousness. The room is silent, the air heavy with the weight of what is to come. You leave without saying another word. There's no need for anything else. You've given what little you can, and it's never enough. It's never enough to stop what's coming. You move through the town like a shadow, your footsteps soft against the cobblestones. The silence follows you, suffocating and complete. You pass empty houses, empty streets, empty lives. The town is fading, and you are too. There is no escape from this. The sun hangs low in the sky, casting long shadows across the street as you make your way to the canal. You stop there, watching the water flow slowly by. The bodies continue to be carried away, one by one, disappearing into the depths of the canal. It's the same every day. The bodies come and the canal takes them. You don't know how many have been carried away at this point. It doesn't matter. The numbers don't mean anything anymore. The plague has won. It's taken everything. It's taken the city, the people. And you turn away from the canal, walking back through the empty streets, the weight of the mask still heavy on your face. Your mind drifts to the past, to the days before the plague. You remember the sounds of the market, the laughter of children, the warmth of the sun on your skin. You remember a time when there was hope, but that time is gone. It died with the first person who fell ill, and it's never returned. You reach your quarters, the familiar, empty room where you've spent countless nights. You remove the mask, the robe, the gloves, but it doesn't bring relief. The emptiness inside you remains. You sit at the table, staring at the blank pages of your journal. There's nothing left to write. The stories have all been told. The faces have all blurred together. There's a knock at the door, a soft sound that breaks the silence. You don't want to answer. You don't want to face anyone else. but you know you must. It's the last thing you have left. You open the door to find the same child standing there. She's holding the same wilted flower in her hands. Her face is pale, but her eyes still hold that same fragile hope. I couldn't save her, you say, your voice cracking, but the child doesn't speak. She just stands there, holding the flower, waiting for you to do something, anything. You look at her for a long moment, and something shifts in you. You don't know what it is, but it feels like a part of you breaking free. A small spark of something that has been buried under all the death and despair. I'm sorry, you whisper. I couldn't save anyone. The child says nothing, but her small hand reaches up, pressing the flower into your palm. You don't know why, but you hold it there, staring at it for a long moment. And then, without a word, the child turns and walks away, disappearing into the silence of the town. You close the door behind you and sit down at the table once more. The flower is still in your hand. You don't know what it means, but for the first time in a long while, you feel a flicker of something. It's small, it's fragile, but it's there. You look at the mask on the table, its glass eyes staring back at you. You've worn it for so long, it has become part of you. But you know now that it's not enough. It never was. You can't stop the plague. You can't stop the death. But maybe, just maybe, you can be something else. You rise and open the window. The air is still heavy with the weight of all that has passed. But outside, there's a hint of something new, something small and fragile, like the flower the child gave you. A glimpse of life, of hope, even in the darkest of times. You step out into the night, the weight of the mask no longer feeling so heavy. For the first time in a long while, you take a breath, and it's not the stale, suffocating air of the plague. It's the cool, crisp air of something new, something that still lingers in the world despite everything that has come before. You don't know what tomorrow will bring, but for now you walk forward, and that is enough. The dawn rises, but it doesn't feel like the start of a new day. It's just the earth turning once more, indifferent to the wreckage of the lives that have been torn apart. The light struggles to pierce through the haze, the pallor of the plague hanging thick in the air. The town is quieter today than ever, and you wonder if it is simply waiting for the inevitable end. You've walked these streets so many times now that they no longer surprise you. The marks on the doors, the smell of death in the corners, the empty eyes that follow you from behind cracked windows, these things have become your constant companions. But today something feels different. The air seems stiller, the silence heavier, as though the weight of the world has pressed down on the town until it can't take anymore. The mask waits by your door, a cold, silent sentinel. You are ready to face it, because it's all you know anymore. It's all you've ever known for months, this life, this death, this endless cycle. The robe is the same, the gloves, the cane. Nothing has changed. Nothing has ever changed. You step into the street, your footsteps too loud in the stillness. The townsfolk, who still remain, scatter at the sight of you. They look at you with the same mix of fear and hopelessness, but you can't bring yourself to care anymore. They are nothing but shadows in your world now. The day feels longer than it should. The faces blur together, they're suffering a constant hum that fills the air. You walk from house to house, checking pulses, prodding lumps, offering herbs and prayers, giving empty words to the dying. There is no salvation. There is no hope left. Only the endless procession toward the inevitable. Each body you examine, each soul you watch slip away, wears on you. You've become numb to it. But today, the numbness feels different. The weight of it all seems to grow, pressing against you like the mask you wear. You feel it in your bones. You feel it in your chest. By the time the sun begins to set, you find yourself standing at the edge of town. The once bustling market square is now just a collection of abandoned stalls, their wooden frames rotting, their fabric torn by the wind. The carts have stopped coming. The bells have stopped tolling. The town is dying, and you have been the last to walk its streets. You stand at the edge of the canal, watching the water flow sluggishly, carrying more bodies away. You've seen this so many times before that you've lost count. But today there's something different. It feels final. The death toll, the silence, the empty homes, they're not just the result of the plague. They are the result of something deeper, something the plague has awakened, something you can't run from. You stand there for a long while, the mask heavy against your face, the evening air cold against your skin. The world has become nothing but a series of faces slipping away, of lives that were never meant to be saved. And you, the one who's always been here, the one who's watched it all unfold, are the last one left standing. But you know something now. The weight of this role, the weight of being the last witness, it's more than anyone can bear. You've seen the best and the worst of humanity. You've walked the line between hope and despair so many times that it no longer means anything. It's all become a blur, an endless spiral of sickness and death. The mask, once a symbol of duty, now feels like a shackle. The robes, once a shield, now weigh you down. You've carried this burden long enough. But it's not just the weight of the town on your shoulders. It's the weight of everything you've lost, the people you couldn't save, the lives you couldn't protect, the truth that you've never been able to face. You take the first step away from the canal. The weight of your steps echoing through the stillness of the dying town. You've seen the end of it. You've watched the streets empty. And now you know it's time for you to leave as well. The mask doesn't feel right anymore. You've worn it for so long that it feels like part of you. But now, as you walk away from the canal, from the dying city, it becomes clear to you that you can no longer carry it. You no longer need it. You stop feeling the last of the weight lift from your shoulders, if only for a moment. You take a deep breath. And for the first time in ages, it doesn't feel like the world is closing in around you. It's still dark, still heavy, but for a brief second, there's a sliver of peace. Without thinking, you reach up and remove the mask. The cool air hits your face, and for the first time in months, you feel something resembling relief. The weight of the mask, the weight of your duty, it all falls away in that moment. You stand there for a long while, letting the stillness wash over you. The town is dead. There is no more work to be done. You've seen the final toll, the last breath, and now you can walk away. And yet, as you turn to leave, you realize that there is one more thing you must do. Not for the town, not for the dead, but for yourself. You must let go of the past. You must walk away from the weight of the world you've carried for so long. With the mask in your hand, you take the final step away from the plague. Away from the city, away from everything that's come before. The road ahead is unknown, but for the first time, it's yours to walk. The world outside is quiet, too quiet. The kind of silence that presses down on your chest, heavy and suffocating. It is the silence of a place that has known too much death. A place that has seen its people swallowed by disease. Swallowed by despair, and now left with nothing but the ghosts of what once was. You stand at the threshold of the town, the familiar streets stretching out before you, now empty. There are no more cries for help, no more desperate pleas for medicine. No more families waiting at the door, hopeful that you'll be the one to save them. It's all gone. And in its place, there's nothing but the dust of the past, the remnants of a world that is no more. The mask, once so familiar, rests heavily in your hands. It has been your constant companion, your shield, your prison, but no longer. You've left it behind, discarded it like so many things. And yet, you still feel the weight of it on you, still hear its hollow echo in your mind, as though it were part of you, as though it had become you. You take a step forward, and for the first time in what feels like an eternity, you breathe freely. The air is thin, sharp in your lungs, but it's fresh. The smell of decay and rot that once clung to you like a second skin has finally faded, leaving only the faint scent of earth and sky. It is a strange, unfamiliar feeling, the feeling of being unburdened, of walking without the weight of the world pressing down on you. The sun is setting, casting long shadows across the streets, but there is no warmth in the light. It is as if even the sun, too, has grown tired. The buildings stand like forgotten monuments to a time long past, their windows dark and lifeless. The town, which was once a place of bustling markets and children's laughter, is now a hollow shell, a ghost town, a memory. You continue to walk, slowly, your footsteps quiet on the cobblestones. You pass the canal again, its waters dark and still. There are no bodies floating on its surface now. No more reminders of the lives lost, of the endless march of death that once came for them. The canal is empty as everything else. And yet, as you stand there, looking into the dark waters, you wonder, what now? What happens to a town when the plague is gone? When the sickness has taken its toll and there's nothing left but the silence? What happens to the survivors, the ones who have witnessed it all, who have seen the world crumble around them? You don't know. But you know this, the mask is no longer your burden to carry. The city is no longer your responsibility. You've done what you could. You've walked the streets, offered the remedies, and given the last rites. But in the end, it was never enough. It was never going to be enough. You turn away from the canal, your steps taking you farther from the town. The road ahead is long, and you don't know where it leads. But for the first time, it doesn't matter. The weight of the past is gone, and with it, the knowledge that you are just one more figure in a dying world. You are not a healer anymore, not a savior. You are just a man walking away from a place that has lost everything. The world beyond the town is vast, open, and silent. You don't know what lies ahead, but for the first time in a long while, you don't fear it. You walk into the night, the stars overhead, the darkness stretching out in front of you. There is no plague here. There is no death. There is just the silence and the journey that lies ahead. And as you walk, the road fading behind you, you realize that, in the end, it is not the mask or the robes that define you. It is the steps you take, the choices you make. And in this moment, you choose to walk away. The road stretches out ahead, endless, silent. The weight of the town is already a distant memory fading behind you like the faintest echo of a nightmare. There are no cries for help, no desperate souls begging for salvation. There are no faces left to save, no lives left to tend to. All that remains is the path before you and the quiet. The mask still clutched in your hand is a relic now. You turn it over in your fingers, its beak worn smooth from the countless times it has touched your face. You stare at it not with the weight of duty, but with a strange, detached curiosity. It was once your identity, your shield against the world. But now it feels like nothing more than a hollow thing. A symbol of a time you can never return to. You toss it aside, watching as it lands in the dust where it will likely remain, forgotten just like the town. It feels like an act of finality, of severing the last tie to a world that no longer exists. You are free now. But freedom, it seems, is both a blessing and a curse. The road is long, winding through hills and fields that stretch into the horizon. The landscape is quiet too, no people. No animals, just the soft rustle of the wind through the trees, the occasional bird call breaking the stillness. The world seems to have stopped as if it too is waiting for something. For what? You don't know. Your feet move on autopilot, the rhythmic sound of your footsteps the only thing that breaks the silence. You have no destination in mind, no plan. The past few months, years, however long it's been, have blurred into a haze of death, duty, and despair. There's nothing left to hold on to. No reason to hurry, no reason to stop. The sky darkens as you walk. The sun dipping below the horizon, casting a soft, amber glow over the land. It feels almost like the world is taking a deep breath, exhaling the last of the plague's grip. Though the air still carries its heavy scent, its memory. You find a place to rest for the night beneath an old oak tree, its gnarled branches stretching wide like the hands of a forgotten god. The ground is soft beneath you, and for a moment, you close your eyes, letting the stillness wash over you. You don't know how long it's been since you've slept without the weight of the world on your shoulders. But sleep does not come easily. Instead, you find yourself thinking about the town, about the people you couldn't save. Faces flash before your eyes, the mother, the father, the children. The ones who died without a prayer, without hope. You wonder if they even knew you tried. Did they believe the words you spoke? The empty promises? You shift uncomfortably, the memories pressing in on you, suffocating. You are not a savior. You were never meant to be. You were just a man. Like all the others, caught up in something far bigger than yourself. And now that it's over, you don't know who you are without the mask, without the role you played. The darkness thickens around you, the stars above blinking in and out of view. For a moment, you think you hear something, a faint sound in the distance, a voice, a whisper, but when you turn, the world is empty again, save for the trees, the sky, the road. You shake your head and close your eyes again, determined to let sleep take you, determined to let go of the weight of the past. You've walked away from it all. It's time to move forward. But as the night stretches on, something stirs within you. A sense of purpose, though you're not sure what it is. Perhaps it's the road ahead that calls you. Perhaps it's the knowledge that there's still something left for you to discover even if you don't know what it is. The journey isn't over. It can't be. There's something waiting for you out there. You don't know what it is, but you feel it in your bones. You rise to your feet, your legs stiff from the cold ground. And you take the first step forward again. The road winds before you, endless and unknown. And for the first time in a long while, you don't fear it. You are no longer the plague doctor. You are just a man stepping into the quiet beyond. The road stretches out before you, an endless ribbon of dirt and stone winding through the wilderness. The weight of the past seems to grow lighter with each step, but the air around you still carries an unfamiliar heaviness. It's a quiet night, and the stars shine like distant beacons in the vastness above. The world feels wide, open, and infinite in a way that both terrifies and frees you. You've walked away from everything, the town, the disease, the mask. And yet, as each step takes you farther from what you once knew, you realize that you have yet to escape the ghosts that linger at the edges of your mind. The faces of those you couldn't save, the cries for help that went unanswered, the endless procession of death. They follow you, even now, even in the emptiness of this road. You thought you could leave it behind, but the weight of the past has a way of staying with you even when you think you've walked far enough away. You pass small villages along the way, but they are always quiet, always empty. The people you meet don't speak much. They give you wary glances, but say nothing. There is no welcome, no acknowledgement. It's as if the very act of surviving has rendered them mute, unwilling to speak of what's been lost. At night, you camp by the side of the road under the wide expanse of stars. The fire crackles softly in front of you, and the warmth is a reminder of the life you still carry. You've stopped thinking of yourself as a plague doctor. You are just a man, and that is both a burden and a blessing. You wonder if the world will ever feel normal again. Can a person ever truly escape the shadow of something so vast, so consuming as the plague? You hope it's possible, but you know deep down that the scars of the past will never fade entirely. Not for you, not for the town, not for anyone. Days turn into weeks. You walk through the wilderness, past fields of tall grass, and through forests thick with ancient trees. The world around you feels untouched, as though time itself has forgotten it. But it doesn't matter. The silence is the same everywhere. You are alone, but not lonely. It's an odd feeling, but it's one you've grown used to. One morning, you wake to the sound of something different, a voice. Not far off, someone is singing. The voice is light, carefree, unburdened. You hesitate, unsure whether to investigate. But curiosity gets the better of you, and you follow the sound until it leads you to a small clearing. A woman stands in the middle of the clearing, her back to you, singing a song in a language you don't understand. She's not much older than you, her hair long and wild, her clothes simple but clean. She doesn't seem to notice you at first, so you stand there, watching her. When she turns around, her eyes lock with yours. She doesn't flinch, doesn't look away. There's no fear in her eyes, only quiet curiosity. Are you lost? She asks softly, her voice kind but not intrusive. You nod, not sure what to say. For a moment, there's nothing but the sound of the wind through the trees and the distant hum of birds in the air. Come, she says, gesturing for you to sit beside her. You've been walking a long time. You must be tired. You hesitate. You don't know why, but something in her presence puts you at ease. You sit beside her, the warmth of the fire between you. My name is Elena, she says after a moment, her voice gentle as if she's speaking to someone who has forgotten what it means to be heard. And you? You hesitate. The name you once carried, plague doctor, feels so foreign now. It feels like a lifetime ago. I don't know, you say quietly. I don't think I have a name anymore. Elena doesn't ask you to explain. She simply nods as if she understands. You don't need a name, she says. Not here, not in this place. Here, we are what we choose to be. We are free. You don't know what to say to that. The concept of freedom feels strange. After all this time, after everything you've seen and done, it seems almost impossible. But looking at her, her calm demeanor, her unwavering presence, you wonder if perhaps freedom is something that can be earned. Maybe, after everything, there is still a chance for it. As the fire burns low, Elena shares her food with you. Simple bread, fruit, and herbs that seem to glow in the firelight. You eat in silence, the food grounding you, reminding you that life goes on, even in the darkest of times. The night is long, and as the hours pass, you tell her what you can. You speak of the town, the plague, the people you couldn't save. But you don't feel the weight of the words anymore. They don't consume you. You speak them to her as if they are part of the past, as if they belong to someone else, to a life you no longer live. Elena listens, not with pity, but with understanding. And when you're done, she simply says, You did what you could, and now it's time for you to heal. Her words are simple, but they carry weight. Healing. The thought seems strange, foreign even. You've been so focused on the duty, on the role you played, that you never thought about what came after. But now, for the first time, you realize that healing is something you can give yourself. Something you can learn. The fire flickers one last time before dying down, the embers glowing softly in the darkness. Elena doesn't seem to notice. She looks up at the stars, her face peaceful, her eyes reflecting the light of 1,000 worlds. I have a question, she says softly. Where do you go from here? You stare at the stars, wondering the same thing. Where do you go when the world has already taken everything you've had to give? Where do you go when the mask is gone? And the world still feels empty? But then, with a deep breath, you realize that maybe, just maybe, the journey ahead doesn't have to be filled with answers. Maybe the journey ahead is simply about walking, step by step, into the unknown. No longer a plague doctor, just a man. I think I'll walk for a while longer, you say. Maybe until I find something new. Elena smiles, a soft, knowing smile. Then go and walk freely. You stand, feeling the weight of your past slowly, finally, lifting from your shoulders. The night is quiet, the stars clear above, and as you walk away, you know that the journey is not yet over. It never will be, but now it is your own to make. The road ahead is as quiet as the world you've left behind. There are no towns, no villages, no familiar faces. Just the soft, endless stretch of dirt beneath your boots, winding into the horizon like an unspoken promise. You walk without destination, each step carrying you farther from the person you once were. The plague doctor, the healer, the man in the mask, those roles have all faded, lost to the distance between now and then. The sun hangs low, casting long shadows on the earth. It's the hour before night falls, and the world seems to hold its breath. You've been walking for days, weeks, maybe longer. Time has become as fluid as the land you travel through. The weight of the past no longer clings to you with the same urgency, but it's still there, a shadow that lingers just out of sight. You can feel its presence, but you no longer let it define you. You are no longer a figure in a town consumed by plague. You are no longer the one who held the lives of others in your hands, walking the thin line between life and death. That world is gone now. Swallowed by time, by the disease, by the desperate need for survival. As you walk, the wind picks up, swirling dust around you like the ghosts of the past, restless but far away. The silence of the road is broken only by the sound of your breath, the rhythmic tapping of your cane against the earth, and the occasional rustling of leaves in the trees overhead. The world around you is vast, open, and yet it feels like you are walking alone in a forgotten world. You think back to the days when the town was full of life. When people went about their business, not knowing what would come, what would tear their world apart. The memories are faint now, like the fog of a dream, but they still remain. Faces, names, the children who ran in the streets, the mothers who called out to their loved ones, the men who stood at the market with hope in their eyes, believing in the future. You wonder if any of them thought they would ever meet the end they did. The thought weighs on you for a moment, but you push it aside, focusing on the road instead. The night is settling in now. You find a small clearing by the side of the road and decide to rest. You set down your pack, take off your boots, and sit on the ground, your back against a sturdy tree. The stars begin to peek out from behind the fading light of the day, tiny pinpricks in the vastness of the sky. The quiet is overwhelming. The kind of quiet that comes when everything is still. When there is no one left to talk to, no voices to fill the air. It's the kind of silence that makes you confront yourself, your thoughts, the things you've been running from. You're not sure why you came to this place. You're not sure what you're looking for. But something inside you tells you that this is the only way forward. You cannot keep running from the past. You cannot keep hiding behind the mask. For the first time, you take a deep breath and let it fill your lungs, unburdened. The air is crisp, cool, and carries with it the scent of earth and pine. It is a relief to be away from the death, away from the suffocating grip of the plague that once defined your every move. You realize as you sit there in the stillness that you have been living in fear for far too long. Fear of the plague, fear of failure, fear of what the world has become. And now, sitting here in the quiet, you begin to understand that fear is just another shadow. It doesn't belong to you anymore. As the night deepens, you gather firewood and start a small fire. The flames flicker and dance, casting shadows on the ground, their warmth a comfort against the chill of the night air. You sit back, watching the fire burn, letting it take you somewhere beyond the road, beyond the memories. Somewhere far from the place you once called home. For the first time in what feels like forever, you allow yourself to relax. There's no one else here but you. No roles to play. No duties to fulfill. Just the crackling fire and the endless stretch of road that will take you to wherever you choose to go. As the fire burns low, you feel a sense of peace. Not because the world is at rest, but because, for once, you are. There are no answers, no grand revelations, just the quiet knowledge that you have walked this far. You've carried the weight. And now you let it go. You lie back on the ground, staring up at the stars, and for the first time in a long time, you don't feel the need to do anything. You simply exist in this moment, with the quiet and the stars and the fire. There is no rush. The road is endless. And it will be there tomorrow. And as you drift into sleep, you realize that the journey isn't about finding an end, but about finding yourself along the way. The road ahead is long, winding, and unfamiliar, but it no longer feels like a weight, a burden to bear, a task to complete. It simply is. With every step, the past becomes a little less important, its edges blurring like a dream slipping away upon waking. The mask, the robes, the endless days of illness and death. They belong to someone else now, someone you used to be, someone you no longer recognize. The wind whispers through the trees, and you breathe it in deeply, feeling the cool air fill your lungs. The world feels expansive, infinite. The landscape shifts as you walk, fields that stretch for miles, forests dense with shadows, hills that seem to disappear into the horizon. But through it all, you carry only one thing: the rhythm of your own footsteps. You don't know where this road will take you. You have no destination in mind, no purpose beyond the journey itself. For the first time in what feels like an eternity, you are free from expectation. You are simply a man walking through the world, and that, in itself, is something new, something worth savoring. As you walk, the quiet of the world begins to settle around you. It's a different kind of silence now, not the hollow quiet that filled the streets of the plague-ridden town, but the kind that fills the spaces between breaths, the kind that speaks of peace. The birds, the wind, the rustling of leaves. Everything seems to hum with life, despite the absence of human voices. The road begins to climb as you approach a ridge. You pause for a moment at the top, gazing out at the view before you. The world spreads out beneath you, vast and full of potential. You could keep walking, always forward, always onward, or you could stop here, rest, and let the silence take you. You decide to sit for a while, letting your legs stretch out in front of you. The earth feels solid beneath you, like it has been waiting for this moment. You lean back against the tree, closing your eyes and letting the cool breeze brush over your face. As the day begins to fade, you think back to the life you once had, the days filled with medicine, with patience, with suffering. You think about the ones you lost, the families you couldn't help. But the memories don't weigh as heavily anymore. They're just memories now, stories that belong to the past. You realize that you are no longer defined by them. The fireflies begin to emerge as the night deepens, their soft glow flickering in the twilight. The world is still, yet full of life, full of stories that have yet to be written. You wonder what your next chapter will be. You don't have the answers yet, and maybe that's okay. Maybe the journey itself is the story. You stand up, feeling the earth beneath your feet once more, and begin to walk again. The night is cool and quiet, the sky above now a blanket of stars. The fireflies light your way, guiding you through the darkness. They're tiny, flickering lights dancing around you as you move. For the first time in a long time, you feel like you are exactly where you need to be, on the road, walking forward without fear or hesitation. The past no longer holds you captive. The future is an open field waiting to be explored. The world stretches out before you, and you know that wherever this road leads, you will walk it. One step at a time. The world feels vast tonight, as if it has opened up to swallow you whole. And yet there's a strange comfort in that vastness. The night sky stretches above like a canopy of stars, endless, untouchable. The breeze is gentle, a soft whisper that brushes against your skin, carrying with it the scent of earth and something more, something new, like the promise of a tomorrow you hadn't allowed yourself to imagine. You walk without destination, without purpose beyond this single, quiet step forward. The mask is gone, discarded long ago. The robes too, they're just a memory now, folded away in the corner of your mind like the past itself. A part of you, yes, but no longer your defining feature. The plague doctor, that man who once lived on the thin line between life and death, has ceased to be. Now you are just a traveler. A man walking alone through the world, but no longer haunted by it. The road beneath your feet is dirt and stone, familiar in its simplicity. There's no need for haste anymore. The world doesn't seem to be rushing anywhere, so why should you? The air, the silence, even the sound of your footsteps on the road, they all seem to remind you that the journey is as much about the present as it is about the destination. In the distance, you see the faint outline of mountains, their peaks hidden by a thin mist. You have no idea what lies beyond them, but you know you will find out. Something inside tells you that the horizon is not just a line in the distance. It's a promise, one that calls you forward, step by step. The world around you shifts as you continue down the road, each turn taking you deeper into the unknown. The path has become less defined, a soft trail winding through the fields bordered by tall grasses that sway with the rhythm of the wind. You take in the sight of it all, the wild, untamed nature, the quiet expanse, the endless sky, and feel something stir inside you, something you thought was long buried. For a moment, you stop and listen. The sound of your breath, the rustling of leaves, the distant calls of birds. These are the only sounds that break the stillness. And in that stillness, there's a strange sense of peace. The world, despite its vastness and its weight, is quiet now. It's as if the world itself is holding its breath, waiting for you to make your next move. You walk on, not knowing what lies ahead, but not afraid of it either. The future is an open road, winding and unpredictable, but you've learned that there's no need to fear the unknown. The road will take you where it's meant to, just as it's brought you here, to this moment, to this place. As the sun dips below the horizon, casting a warm orange glow across the land, you find yourself standing at the edge of a cliff. The view below is breathtaking, a wide, open valley that seems to stretch for miles, dotted with small streams, rolling hills, and patches of forest. It's the kind of view that makes you feel small, yet free. For a long moment, you simply stand there, taking it all in. The world feels so much bigger than you, and yet, in this moment, you feel connected to it all. You realize that you are part of this vastness. You always have been. The fireflies begin to appear, flickering in the growing darkness like tiny stars falling from the sky. You smile, a small, genuine smile, the kind of smile that comes from a quiet understanding. A recognition of something beautiful and fleeting. You settle on the ground, your back leaning against a rock, the cool evening air brushing your face. The stars are clearer now, a sea of pinpricks against the velvet sky. You close your eyes, letting the silence wrap around you like a blanket. And in that silence, you realize that this is enough. The journey, the uncertainty, the freedom, it's all part of the same story. The story of a man who walked through the darkest of times and emerged on the other side, not unscathed, but whole in a way that he never thought possible. Tomorrow, you will continue your journey, step by step. But for tonight, you rest. The road is waiting for you, as it always has, but you know now that there's no rush. The horizon will still be there when you wake, ready to carry you to the next chapter. And you will walk it. The horizon before you is ever shifting, a line that seems both distant and near, beckoning with the promise of something new. The path you walk is no longer defined by the shadow of death or the weight of duty. It is defined by nothing but the rhythm of your own steps, the wind in your face, and the endless expanse of the world around you. There are no maps for this journey, no guideposts to follow, only the road itself, a blank canvas for whatever comes next. The sun is still low in the sky, casting long shadows across the open landscape. You've been walking for hours, but the miles seem to pass unnoticed. Each step is its own small victory, a reminder that you are still moving forward, still alive. The weight of the past, the mask, the plague, all of it has begun to fade into something distant, something unreal, as though it happened to someone else. The world feels different now. The silence is no longer oppressive, but freeing. It's as if the earth itself is breathing with you, in rhythm with your every movement. The path before you is winding, uncertain, but for the first time you welcome the uncertainty. It is not something to fear, but something to embrace. The road is open, endless, and you are the one walking it. You come upon a small stream, its water sparkling in the morning light. The sound of it is soft, soothing, like a gentle whisper in the quiet of the world. You kneel down, cupping your hands to drink, the cool water refreshing against your parched throat. As you drink, you glance at your reflection in the water, your face worn and weathered, but still you. The plague doctor is gone, but the man who once wore the mask remains. He is different now, more at peace, but still carrying the weight of all he has seen. You wonder, as you watch the ripples fade on the surface of the water, what it would be like to step into that reflection. To leave behind all the sorrow, all the uncertainty, and embrace a life that's entirely yours. It's a thought that lingers for a moment, but then slips away, replaced by the quiet sense of movement, of forward motion, You stand, wiping your hands on your trousers, and continue on your way. The landscape shifts around you, the fields giving way to a dense forest. The trees stand tall and dark, their branches intertwining to create a canopy above. The light here is muted, dappled, and the air smells of pine and earth. You enter the forest without hesitation, trusting the path to reveal itself as you move forward. The world inside the forest is different. It's quieter, the sounds of nature more pronounced. The rustle of leaves, the calls of distant birds, the occasional crack of a twig underfoot. The air is cool and fresh, filling your lungs with each breath. The world here is untouched, unspoiled, as though it's been waiting for you to arrive. Waiting for you to step into its embrace. You pause for a moment, taking it all in, the way the light filters through the trees, the smell of the earth, the silence that surrounds you. It's a silence that doesn't feel empty, but full of life, full of possibility. There's a sense of calm here, a stillness that resonates deep within you. For the first time, you realize that you are no longer just walking. You are living, breathing, existing in the moment, not rushing toward anything, but simply being. As the hours pass, you make your way deeper into the forest. You are not sure where you're going, but it no longer matters. There is no destination, only the journey itself. The forest is alive with the sound of movement, the gentle swaying of trees, the quiet rustling of leaves. And in that sound, there is a comfort, a reminder that life continues. That even in the deepest shadows, there is growth, there is change. You find a small clearing, the grass soft beneath your feet. The sun is beginning to dip lower in the sky, casting a golden light over everything. You sit down, feeling the coolness of the earth beneath you, the stillness of the moment wrapping around you like a blanket. In the quiet of the forest, the weight of the past seems to fade completely. You are no longer the man who walked through the plague. You are simply here in this moment with the trees, the sky, the earth. You realize, for the first time in a long time, that you are not running from anything anymore. There's nothing left to escape. There's only the peace of now. As the stars begin to appear overhead, you lie back on the soft grass, your eyes fixed on the night sky. The stars are endless, a sea of light in the dark. You wonder, as you watch them twinkle above, what the future holds. It's an unknown, just as the road before you is an unknown. But for the first time, you feel that it's something you can face. Tomorrow you will walk again. You will take another step forward, just as you always have. But tonight you rest. Tonight you are at peace with the road and with yourself. The morning breaks with the soft light of dawn stretching across the landscape, casting long, golden rays through the gaps in the trees. The air is crisp, filled with the promise of a new day, and it feels different today. The road ahead, though still uncertain, no longer seems daunting. The weight of the past is behind you now, far in the distance, and before you is only the openness of the world waiting to be explored. You wake slowly, the gentle chirping of birds your first greeting. For a moment, you just lie there, beneath the blanket of soft grass, letting the calm of the morning sink into your bones. The world around you seems to be waking up with you, the trees shifting in the wind, the sky painted with the colors of dawn. You take a deep breath, letting the cool air fill your lungs. And for the first time in a long while, you feel truly alive. There's no rushing today, no urgency, just the quiet peace of the forest, the rhythm of your own heartbeat, the pulse of life that courses through you. You sit up and stretch, your body stiff from the night's sleep, but it's a good kind of stiffness, reminding you that you've walked a long way to get here. And you're still walking, As you pack up your things, gathering what little you have, you can't help but think of how far you've come. There was a time when the weight of duty and loss seemed to define every step, every breath. You were a man of purpose, driven by the need to save others, to carry the burden of suffering, even at the cost of your own soul. But now that feels like a life lived by someone else. The journey has changed you, slowly but surely, in ways you could never have imagined. The man who walked into the town, into the plague, has left behind his mask, his role. He's no longer a plague doctor. He's no longer defined by the tragedy and the loss. He is simply a man. And that's enough. The sun climbs higher as you make your way down the path, the forest opening up to reveal a new landscape. The trees give way to rolling hills, dotted with wildflowers in shades of yellow and purple. You pause for a moment, taking in the beauty of it all. It's been so long since you've allowed yourself to simply see, to notice the small details, the beauty in the simplicity of the world around you. The way the sunlight dances on the grass, the way the wind carries the scent of pine and earth. For the first time, you realize that you have the luxury of time, the luxury to stop and look, to appreciate the world around you without the weight of a ticking clock, without the pressure of responsibility pressing on your shoulders. The world is yours to discover, and there's no rush. As you continue to walk, the road begins to wind through a valley, a river running lazily alongside it. The sound of water rushing over rocks fills the air, a soothing, constant rhythm. You stop for a moment at the river's edge, dipping your hands into the cool water. The river feels alive, its current steady and unhurried, just like the world around you. There's something comforting about water. It moves, it flows, and yet it always returns to where it began. The river is a reminder that life, no matter how chaotic or uncertain, always finds its way forward. You watch the water for a moment, mesmerized by the way it sparkles in the sunlight, and you realize that, like the river, your journey is simply about moving forward. One step at a time. You continue on, the sound of the river fading behind you as you climb a small hill. When you reach the top, the view before you takes your breath away. The valley spreads out beneath you, rolling hills and fields of green, dotted with clusters of trees. In the distance, you can see a small village, its rooftops nestled in the valley like a cluster of forgotten dreams. You're not sure why, but something stirs within you as you look at the village. It's not the pull of duty, not the need to heal or help, but something else. A curiosity. A desire to see what lies beyond the horizon, what kind of life people are living in this small, quiet place. The road ahead seems to lead there, and as you stand on the hill, looking down at the village, you realize that this might be the next step. The village is part of the world you've been walking toward, one where you can choose your place, choose who you are without the weight of your past. You take a deep breath and begin walking toward the village. The road is long, but it feels right. There's no urgency, no need to hurry. Just the steady rhythm of your footsteps, the soft sounds of nature around you, and the promise of something new, something waiting to be discovered. The village is closer now, its stone buildings glowing in the late afternoon sun. As you approach, the sound of life reaches your ears. The chatter of people, the clink of tools, the soft murmur of voices. You pause for a moment at the edge of the village, looking at the people who move through it, going about their lives. You don't know what you're looking for, what you hope to find, but you know one thing for sure. This is where your journey leads. You step forward into the village, into the unknown. The village comes into view like a painting slowly revealing itself. Subtle, vibrant, and full of life. The buildings simple and sturdy, sit nestled among the hills, each one built with care and purpose. There's a warmth here, not in the temperature, but in the air, in the way the people move. You've arrived, not with the purpose of a man with a title, but as someone seeking to simply be. You've walked into this place with no expectations, no mission, just the desire to understand what comes next. You take the first steps toward the village gates, your feet crunching the dry earth underfoot. The quiet hum of daily life, children playing, farmers working. Merchants calling to one another is a sound so foreign now, so different from the eerie silence that once filled the plague-ridden streets. The rhythm of their lives is unfamiliar, almost impossible to imagine. Yet here it is, unfolding before you, a reminder that the world can and does move on. As you draw closer, the people begin to notice you, an unfamiliar face. A stranger in their midst. Their eyes meet yours and there's a flicker of curiosity, but also caution. You've learned over time that strangers carry stories and not all stories are welcomed. But here, there is no mask, no title of plague doctor, no reason to fear. There is only you, the man who has wandered this far, trying to find a place to rest. The village is small, but it holds a quiet dignity in its simplicity. The houses are stone and wood, with ivy creeping up the walls, and the smell of fresh bread wafts from a bakery down the street. A farmer greets you as you pass, wiping his brow with a sleeve. He eyes you for a moment before speaking. "New to the village, are you?" he asks, his voice warm but guarded. You nod. "I am." He looks you over as if trying to decipher your story from your face. For a moment, he says nothing, then offers a small smile, his hands resting on the pitchfork at his side. "Well, if you're looking for work, you won't have trouble here. There's always something to do. And if you're just passing through, well, we could use the company." He gestures toward the town center. "The inn's just ahead. They'll have a room for you." You thank him, though it feels strange, this simple exchange. You've been so far removed from ordinary life for so long that now, here in this village, you realize just how much you've forgotten about the small acts of kindness that form the foundation of a community. The inn is modest, the sign hanging gently in the breeze. The sturdy oak is the kind of place that promises no frills but offers something far more valuable: peace. The door swings open as you approach, revealing a cozy interior bathed in warm light. A fire crackles softly in the hearth and the smell of stew fills the air. The innkeeper, a woman with a kind face and eyes that seem to have seen far more than her share of hardship, looks up from behind the counter. "Can I help you?" she asks, her voice gentle, but with an edge of curiosity. "I need a room," you reply simply. Feels good to say those words. To ask for something as ordinary as rest, as though you belong in this world, not as a doctor, not as a symbol, but just as a person. She eyes you for a moment, then nods. "We have a room available. You can stay for the night, though I warn you, the town's small and news travels fast. You'll be known by the time the sun sets." It's not a threat, but a warning of the simple reality in small places. You nod, understanding the unspoken rule here: you are a stranger, but you are welcomed nonetheless. She hands you a key, the metal cold in your hand. "Room 3, she says, and with that, you make your way up the stairs, your footsteps echoing in the stillness of the old inn. The room is small, simple, with a wooden bed, a small table by the window, and a pitcher of water sitting on the nightstand. The bed looks inviting, but you resist the temptation to collapse onto it immediately. You need to settle into this moment, to absorb the quiet, to feel the weight of the past shift from your shoulders. For the first time in a long while, you allow yourself to feel present. You walk to the window and open it, letting the cool evening air rush in. The village is settling into the quiet of nightfall. The last rays of the sun slip behind the mountains, casting a soft glow over the rooftops. For the first time, you feel the strange sensation of belonging. It isn't a place that you've earned, nor one that you've been called to. It's simply a space where you can breathe, where you can rest. And rest you do, as the night falls deeper. The sounds of the village quieting to a hum in the background. You lie on the bed, staring at the ceiling. You can hear the soft crackling of the fire downstairs, the occasional creak of the old building settling. Your eyes close, the exhaustion of the past days, weeks, months, finally catching up with you. But sleep doesn't come easily. The quiet is a strange thing, a silence that feels like a lullaby, but one you are not yet ready for. Your thoughts drift back to the road, to the journey, to the mask you once wore. You are no longer defined by those things, but they are not easily forgotten. It's a soft echo, something that still calls to you in the dark, but not in a way that demands your attention. Tomorrow, you will wake up. You will walk again, but this time not out of necessity, not because the world demands it, but because you want to. You will discover what lies beyond the horizon. But more than that, you will discover what lies within yourself.